I'm announcing today that the Canadian government will now match the United States by removing all of Canada's tariffs on U.S. goods specifically covered under CUSMA. This decision will take effect, September 1st of this year. The situation we're in now is that Canada and the United States have reestablished free trade for the vast majority of our goods. Canada will retain our tariffs on steel, aluminum, and autos as we work intensively with the United States to resolve the issues there. We have the best deal of any country with the United States right now. 85% of our trade is tariff-free.
Very good. Yeah, so hate this guy, I love him, but I think he's doing a phenomenal job as it relates to these tariffs negotiations. I really like how he's not cowering to DJT and he's actually being very strategic. I love how he's going about it. With that being said, while, yeah, Canada has the USMCA that protects us from these tariffs, what he doesn't mention is that almost 80% of Canada's trade is actually with the US. So yeah, while it's not a very high percentage, we do have a heavy reliance on the USA. And I'm really hoping that we're able to kind of diversify our markets so that we can actually stop being so reliant on one country. And I think that's going to put an end to these whole talks of 51st state and whatnot. Now I know on the other side of the aisle, we're going to have the conversation, the conservatives or the right guys. They're going to be like, oh, where are those elbows up? Where are those elbows up, right? It's true, right? It seems like I say, because Carney literally ran based on elbows up and he's going to stand up to Trump. And I think that's just what he's doing. Elbows up doesn't mean that you need to keep fighting when the person is not fighting you back. All he's doing here is that he's matching the US. So the US, they've exempted goods that are CUSMA compliant, and that's all Carney is doing, is just matching him. So actually I would say that's quite the exact meaning of elbows up. It means that we're in a boxing ring and it's your move, right? So I think his elbows are up, but we're going to play what Pierre Poilievre has to say. But before that, let's hear what the man himself is saying about the matter.
Call with Prime Minister Carney of Canada yesterday morning.
Yes.
Actually, Canada is taking away some retaliatory tariffs.
He's removing his tariffs, yeah.
Exactly.
He's removing his retaliatory tariffs, which I thought was nice. And we're going to have another call soon. Yeah, we had a very good call.
You're getting closer towards an
agreement.
agreement.
I like him.
Trade?
I like him. Look, I'm fighting for the United States. Canada and Mexico have taken a lot of our business over the years, over 25, 30 years. Especially during the Biden years. They took a lot of our business, and it's basically all coming back into the United States now. Well, hot as a pistol, and it's coming back in. Because of tariffs and the incentives we give, it's coming back. And it's impossible, I think, for another country to stop it. And we are working on something. We want to be very good to Canada. I like Carney a lot. I think he's a good person. And we had a very good talk yesterday.
Yeah, I do think Carney is a really good person indeed. And I do think that the US needs to be good to Canada because we've had a very long-lasting, fruitful relationship. I know it's easy for them to cut ties with us, probably easier for them, given that their trade with us is maybe 20% of their overall trades. So it's pretty much negligible on the grand scheme of things. But still, it's nice to hear DJT saying that he wants to be good to Canada. But now we already know that he could say one thing today and then tomorrow, just based off of a tweet or a truth, right? And then all of a sudden he could completely change his tone again. So I'm going to take this with a grain of salt. But with that being said, let's hear what Pierre Poilievre has to say as well.
We have to judge Mr. Carney by his performance, and not by the standards I set, by the ones that he set out for himself. So let's do that today. First, I was happy to hear that he got the president on the phone. I know that Mr. Carney has been trying to do that now for about a month, and today the president accepted his call. And the Prime Minister took the opportunity to make a series of very generous concessions to President Trump. And I was expecting that when the call was reported that we'd find that President Trump had given us something in return, that Mr. Carney, being the negotiator he promised he would be, that he would get something after giving something. But not so. Today we learn that it has been yet another capitulation and climb down by Mark Carney. His elbows have mysteriously gone missing.
I called it. I knew that I was going to hear something about the elbows, right? But I'm going to have to disagree with Mr. Poilievre on this one. I don't think that Carney folded to Trump. I think all he did was just match him. Because the US, they didn't tariff goods that were Kuzma reliant. So I think to show good faith, it's good to also match them and match their energy. So I'm going to have to disagree with Mr. Poilievre on this one. I do like Poilievre, Pierre Poilievre, by the way. I do really like him, to be honest with you. And I did even speak with my vote as it relates to him. But when it comes to these tariffs here, I do think that Mark Carney, I think he's more suited for such a negotiation. I have a feeling that Pierre Poilievre would have already folded by now, kind of like the way Ursula did. Ursula of the EU, the way she folded, I think Mr. Poilievre would have folded just like that. But I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say down in the comments below. What do you think about this? Do you think this is just posturing from both sides of the aisle? Or do you think that these talks are actually going to amount to a lasting deal, right? Because as you know, the USMCA is due for renewal next year. So what do you make of that? Do you think Canada is going to be losing some of that leverage come next year? I really want to hear from you guys down in the comments below. Be sure to let me know. If you like the video, smash that like, smash that subscribe, and until next time, peace.